Then genomics, right, in drug discovery, because understanding the challenges, like as I mentioned, the cyber security, which is a very major concern into it, because even though we wear these medical devices, right, but still there are some lacunas, the regulatory intervention is definitely less, because how you will see that the data that is getting transferred through these diseases, these devices is safe, but your data may be misused by someone for their benefit, right? If they understand that the Indian population is suffering from this disease, why not to make this drug for them, right? How this data is going. So we don't have any control as such, right? It's like that we have some data going to China also, some US, Europe companies also. Actually, it's very high time for India also to look into the cyber security features, because if you are going to heavily invest into the medical devices, and we have already started. So cyber security definitely sounds like more of technical, but this is also a good area that one can explore, provided he upskills himself or herself in that area, and the technicalities getting understood by that particular expert. So this is also definitely one of the area that we can do. Next. So the again challenges into pharma industry, because why we are not seeing the major companies investing into the pharma, right? If you see, these are still ruled by just 8 to 10 companies. We don't have any add-on after some say significant period. Still they are only the leaders in that. So because the challenge is developing any new medicine, right? It's very cost heavy, right? So it's the kind of efforts and the money that is getting involved is too much. And in this today's environment where businessmen don't have any patience to invest so much into this field and get out with a drug, is definitely one challenge. Then obviously our pharma field is highly regulated. So you will not receive any medicine unless until it is properly tested on humans. Then because if it is tested, then only, and the data is supporting that it is safe to consume, then only will be consuming, right? So this is all ensured by the regulatory complexity. Then supply chain issues, then data security concerns, then obviously due to the technology, the evolving healthcare landscape. So what does this mean? Because the kind of medical devices that are taking the place in your day-to-day life, this is also causing the pharma companies to think on, right? Because before you take any medicine, obviously we go with the proper diagnosis only, right? So definitely first now coming into, because I think since they are growing and everyone is getting cautious about their health and all those stuff, right? So we want to first go to the doctor and get properly diagnosed. Until that we will not take treatment, right? So so these things are definitely changing, is a challenge for our pharma healthcare landscape aspect. Next. So all of you must be knowing the career opportunities that will be exploring in either will fall into this one of these fields, right? Whether it is production or based on your interest again, quality control, then reg affairs, which is a very vast field. Okay, reg affairs is very vast field. Then clinical research, but clinical research again, since this is getting more of like a properly regulated now in India, I see like the job creation is not happening that great into this field, right? So as such, if you see the reg affairs still hold the dominance into the Indian job scenario, where definitely one can go for it. Pharmacovigilance also, to be honest, I don't think so. Considering the automation that's happening, I don't think so down the line they will recruit more of the pharmacovigilance people. Challenges will be there. I'm not saying it will get closed tomorrow, but challenges are there. Then sales and marketing, if someone has to explore their careers in sales and marketing, so this is also a good option. Then obviously, as this is also medical writing, scientific and regulatory writing. So medical writing, scientific and regulatory, these are part of the medical writing. If you are supporting any documentation and writing any report for say regulatory authority, that falls under regulatory writing, right? So, but these are also niche skills which we develop over the period, and this is also a good area to explore as of now. But down the line, companies are investing heavily into crafting the templates which they submit to the regulatory, okay, and they will also get automated. But again, it will not happen in a night, it will take time, but you see like after some time this job will also get redundant, I feel. Then yeah, R&D opportunities, again coming back to the R&D, if you look at the R&D, we have two R&D, like the formulation R&D and the drug discovery R&D. So when it comes to the formulation R&D, still because since it's a sustaining business, right, for Glenmark, say Cipla or other companies, so we have still these jobs going on in market. I'm not that sure like how the current opportunity still, but still it is sustaining. And coming to research and development, when we are going for discovering a new medicine itself, so definitely the investments are very less, and we see very less peers like Syngene, then we have Sai Life Sciences and all those stuff for the chemistry and the pharmacology. Yeah, next. Yeah, so the career opportunity that you will see, right? So maybe I will divide it as a generic companies first, then the innovators and the consulting. So generic, as we know, are all Indian companies, okay, who are generally have the generic market like Cipla, Maclois, then Dr. Reddy's, Lupin, Zydus, Glenmark. Then the innovators, which are actually 9 to 10, like Novartis, Sanofi, Amgen, GSK. So these are the big players where we have the very good opportunities. Then the consulting, like as me and Amita are working into this consulting company where they do support the pharma projects, right? So this is also one of the opportunities. Okay. So yeah, next. Okay, I think this is more about the pharmaceuticals. So I would like to know if anyone has any questions on the pharmaceuticals. Please feel free to ask. Actually, there is no hesitation. No? So it should not be just a one-sided communication. I would like to know your thoughts as well if you have any doubt or something. How is it boring for you? I think you must be saying that already we are learning this through different platforms. Today we have a lot of platforms, right, where we can learn all this, and you know better considering the LinkedIn and all social media platforms are getting stronger day by day. You have this information very handy. But I think based on my experience, I would like to just highlight the lacunas. What are the challenges in the current job scenario? I think to some extent this will definitely help you to look for your career, what you are thinking, and in which direction you want to go. Yeah? So coming to the medical devices. So again, as we discussed on the pharmaceutical value chain, so when we develop any medicine, right, so what are the process? A chemist designs the drugs, he synthesizes that in a lab, then the pharmacologist or the say biochemist will screen that into the in vitro, in vivo, then from there it will get tested into the humans, and from there it will get approved if it fits into the regulatory criteria about the safety and efficacy, right? And overall we will be monitoring the safety and efficacy through the vigilance process. So on the similar note, as I mentioned you, on the same note, the kind of regulation that we have for pharma are getting mapped, I see, based on my experience for medical devices as well, right? So coming to the medical devices, how a medical device gets invented, I think it's very curious process. Like say, what is the initiation and planning? So in the case of pharmaceuticals, we call it as a new drug development. But in the case of medical devices, they generally call it as a new product development, NPD. Okay. So again, NPD, since the engineering aspects are very much into that, sometimes it may not be our cup of tea, but we have to make it. Okay. How is it? Because again, as sir clearly mentioned, we need to get interactive with the other players like engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers to understand the technical challenges with the device. Because we know there are regulatory challenges for a device, but the technical challenges we don't have any hold. But again, we need to upskill in that area and we need to read to get thorough with the technical challenges as best as we can. Okay. So when any medical device is getting developed, so for developing any medical device, so definitely the OEMs, that the medical device companies will have the proper data analysis structure that they want to manufacture or design this medical device based on the market demand, whether it may be a in vitro diagnostic or the medical device as such, say like ECG machine or say stent. In case of in vitro, it may be a glucose monitoring kit or say any protein detection kit in case of cancer or any protein they detect, right? So so which Roche has Roche diagnostic, which has a lot of biomarker testing kits available. So they will do the survey and they will sit with the idea with the help of the engineers, biomedical engineers, then physicians, then we as a regulatory expert, right? So all these people will brainstorm this, like how we want to develop this medical device, right? Like what will be the challenges and where we require support of, like whether it is designing the medical device diagram itself, right? The technical challenges, how it should be designed. If we design in such a way, how it's going to affect the safety and performance. In this case of medicine, we call it as the safety and efficacy. In the case of medical device, they call it as the safety and performance. If we are going to change the design of the medical device, how it's going to impact the performance of the device. That's how they think. So when they initialize that concept, then once it is agreed by the management, then they will design the feasibility of that medical device. Okay, and accordingly, if the all process go okay, then they will design as per the technical challenges and all those stuff, right? And again, in this case, when we do the safety and efficacy, in the case of medical device, it's a validation and verification that will be happening. Okay, so validation and verification to ensure that the medical device meets the criteria what is established into the design architecture and all those stuff. Okay, so these terms will be sound very easy to use considering the engineering aspects of those, but we have to get used to that if we are going to explore a career into the medical device. And obviously the product maintenance. So in the case of our pharmacy, we when a new drug developed, we monitor that, and the process is called a pharmacovigilance. In this case, it is a product maintenance. Next step. So at a broad level, there are medical devices are like one is a medical device and the other is the in vitro diagnostic medical device. So medical devices, as you see the class, right? So we have the wheelchair and then bandage and all those things. As you see, the risk of the medical device is getting increased, right? Because now if you go to the class 3, where it is the ECG machine, because if the diagnosis interpreted by this machine, if it is wrong, obviously the results based on that only the doctor is going to prescribe you the medicine, right? So the calibration approach and all those stuff. So here we see a lot of jobs and the regulatory documentation involved, where definitely there is requirement from our field, like we as a specialist definitely can explore, and the people are exploring the career in that way. Okay, and this is how the industry is demanding now, and I think it's better that to some extent if you can able to connect the dots, and if you try to upskill yourself in that way, you will definitely see a good opportunity into this field. And coming back to the in vitro diagnostics, so in vitro diagnostic market, I see a very much boom there. Okay, because unless and until we do any test into a laboratory, we don't go to the physician as such, whether it is a say glucose profile, blood glucose profile, then HbA1c that we do for 3 months sugar, then we have other tests, right? So we don't take any risk as such, and why we should, right? So we see a very good potential into this field, particularly where we can contribute our expertise and we can develop our career. But again, as I mentioned, provided there are conditions, how you want to explore that. Do you have the passion for that or not? For that, you need to be thorough with your understanding on your pharmaceuticals, then the medical device curriculum as well. And unless and until you connect the dots, I think things are not going to work, because sir has already mentioned it very correctly, because things are not going to happen by your own. We need to collaborate and we need to build that supportive environment to mitigate these challenges in understanding. Because what happens in drug discovery also, when any scientist develops drug, right? So at each and every stage of a drug development, whether it is at a chemist level or preclinical level, clinical level, there are challenges, right? So we need to again go back to the specialist and we need to take their inputs, and accordingly we need to again create that new SAR, right? How that protein can properly talk, to mitigate the issue of the adverse event or whatever the side effects that are happening into the clinical trial, right? So I think we need to see the big picture, okay? And the same applies to the medical devices, right? So understand, until you are not passionate in exploring that, so I think no one can guarantee your job in market, to be honest. So that's how the industry is today. Next. So again, at a large, that the markets are regulated like US FDA, then EMA, and we have Japan market, then Health Canada, then TGA, Australia. But I will go through the US FDA and the EMA. So that I think I will be more focused on the European medical devices regulation, because I have worked more on this actually. I don't have any experience as such in working with the US FDA markets. So I should be honest with you. So as I mentioned that by the so in the US FDA, in the case of FDA, when we submit the regulatory documentation for drug, we have the CDR as an agency with whom actually we need to coordinate for getting the submission. So it is called as anyone knows about CDR? What is CDR? I think we should know this because these are the major agencies. Don't we have the curriculum, sir, on the regulations? We have, right? Yeah. Great. What is CDR? What is CDR? Correct, correct. And device? Not drug actually. It's a Center for Drug and Radio Health, right? Maybe you can Google it, right? Radiation health actually they call it as. So at least we should know that which are the agencies that deal with this overall like drug, biological, because at a large to whom with which we are dealing. It's a drug, either drug or biologic or a medical device, right? So in the US FDA we have these three agencies major which particularly look after this separate. And in the EMA, when it comes to the drug biological, then they have the directives. Okay, so I will not go into the directive, maybe into the medical device regulations I will be going, that they call, so this medical device regulation. So in the Europe they passed the two regulations recently, like in the 2017, there is the European medical device regulations and the European in vitro diagnostic regulations. So the UMDR was concerned with the medical devices and the EU-IVDR for the in vitro diagnostic. Okay, so like as I mentioned you the example of the prosthetic drums, right? So this was the major trigger to come to bring this regulation into the picture into the Europe market. And I see, sir, like there has been a lot of opportunities created due to this own regulation itself, right? Because a lot of people being hired for this, especially for this regulation. And definitely people got employed more due to this regulation, I could say, because but to that like service industry as well as the core OEMs as well, and still this regulation is going on, because if companies have to sustain their products into the market, they have to meet with this regulation, understand, until they can't sell that, right? So what about the medical device regulation? So what is exactly, so if you see medical device regulation, so previous to that there were the medical device directive that they called MDD. Okay, so this MDD was replaced with the MDR, medical device regulation. So what are the like changes that they have made with this with respect to this regulation? It's like the classification of the some of the medical devices which were falling class 2, they upclassified it to the class 3, like based on the risk profile of that medicine. Then so that device. Then also to track each medical devices, okay, they ensure the they allocated particularly the what you say the ID to that particular medical devices, whether they can track these medical devices through the supply chain. Suppose if any patient is using that medical devices, right? Maybe suppose if it is an implant, and if any patient has any issue with this medical device, then obviously the unique device identification code that they call it the UDID, right? So they can track this through their supply chain, and this data will be maintained into the databases, and this will ensure that the next product which they will be creating based on this, right? So they address their issues by collecting this data. So you can see like how beautifully this information is getting collected, and this is addressing the challenges of the patients, right? So what they are exactly doing, and actually this has made the regulations so stringent that there is no escape from this for the OEMs, right? So whatever medical device that the patient will be getting will be properly regulated, it will be safe, and it will perform as intended based on the intended use, right? Next. So coming back to the medical device directive and the MDR, medical device regulation, what are the differences? So if you see the overall draft that MDD has, they have just 23 articles. Now the current draft has a 123 articles. So you see like how like to get used to this regulation, we have to read and get through with this all these regulations. There is no option. So that's what I'm saying. Unless and until you are not reading anything, you will not get a hold of anything, right? So you should have the proper understanding of these subjects. So that's what. Then coming to the annexes. So MDD just had a 12 annexes. Now the MDR has 17. And the essential requirements, which they call now, are replaced with the general safety and performance requirements that they call as the GSPR. Okay. So in the previous they had 13 clauses, now there are 23, and the individual requirements also have been improved to 178. You can see like how the experts have drafted this requirement to ensure that a patient gets a safe and a safe medical device product with its proper intended use. Okay, so these are the challenges for us being a healthcare personnel, because if we ensure the proper regulation, definitely then only the patients can trust our product, right? Whether it is a drug or a medical device. Right? Next. Now again so as I mentioned, for the drug to get the approval for any medicine, right? In any market, say you have to sell your medicine in the Europe or US, you need to submit a bunch of documents to the regulatory, right? So those falls as a part of common technical document, start from the model 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That includes our administrative information, then the region specific information, then the labeling information, then the clinical reports, non-clinical reports, then the drug property data, that is part of the chemistry, manufacturing and control, model 3 data, right? So in the similar fashion, the medical device documentation we need to submit into this format, where the content, so they call it as a technical file generally. So the technical file should have these many documents that we need to ensure. That includes the device description and the specification, then the labeling and instructions for use. Then if you see the CE mark, right, on medical device you see the CE mark. So what is the CE mark? So it is the conformity European, that the European word. So that is the compliance to the European requirements. So this CE mark is generally pertinent to the European markets, okay? And on that CE mark, if you see the information below, there is some code mentioned like 0, 1, 2, 3 or something, okay? That is a notified body. So in this case, when we submit the documentation from the pharma perspective, the regulatory person will review your document. But in the case of medical devices, when you submit the documentation to the regulatory, one person will be the mediator, that is known as a notified body. You must have seen the TUV, right? TUV, GSI, right? These are all the notified bodies. So the documentation that we submit to the regulatory will all get reviewed by these notified bodies. So once they review, so there will be again to and fro communications that we need to, because it's not like that you submit the documents and you get approval at a stage. And this is not easy for the medical devices which fall as part of class 2, class 3, which are very high risk products. That may, because if you are not ensuring the documentation as properly, so it may mislead, it may impact the benefit and the safety and performance of that medical device. So we need to ensure that we ensure the compliance as per them. And if you see the magic of this medical device also, right? So this all data will get reviewed by the particularly the clinical documents will be reviewed by the registered medical practitioner. Those will be the MD. Okay, from cardiological background, like their therapeutic area will depend on which they have been hired. So you should be proud of like how this environment is like in the similar fashion when we get the approval for any drug. So all these clinical trial reports and all those stuff is reviewed by all the physicians who are the expert into the particular therapeutic area, right? So this is how the collaborative approach that we need to take, and we need to connect the dots. So you should not just take it very lightly that this is what or something. No, because ultimately we need to improve our technical aspects into these medical devices as well. So unless until we don't have that knowledge or deep knowledge, I would say, so we will not able to make a hands-on that actually. So then again, the design and manufacturing information, then the GSPR documents, then the safety and performance document, then the risk management document, then verification validation, then the post-marketing surveillance. So this is all part of the post-marketing. So in the risk management and all of stuff, so there the clinical documents will come into picture. So if you see for pharmaceuticals, we'll be submitting the clinical study reports, non-clinical study reports, right? But in case of medical devices, they call it as a clinical evaluation report, that is CER, okay? That we need to submit as part of the regulatory compliance. Next. So this is the overall technical documentation that falls like a very detailed actually, okay? So as I mentioned you from module 1 to 5, how detailed the documentation was involved, right? So these are all the documents that are involved into this as well. And here are the opportunity for us to showcase our expertise, right? So how we get the expertise on this, and how we can be an asset to the organization which hiring us for this, right? Whether it is drug device combinations or say a medical device, right? So we need to understand like how the different text that are mentioned, like the specification, device description, then the purpose, labeling, IFUs, those we need to ensure as per the regulation. Then labeling, packaging. So if you see, you can't trust like just into this, I will just go into the labeling, okay? So I have been managing a team of almost 40 people just for the labeling, okay? Who are expert into the labeling. So you can see how the opportunities are actually, how you look at it, right? And it is for the top US-based client, okay? Because to ensure that they have the labels placed on their medical devices which are compliant to the MDR, replaced by the CE mark by the previous notified body, which we need to replace by the current notified body, and the proper version of those, and proper naming convention, and the languages as prescribed by the current regulation, that is the MDR, we need to ensure that properly. So now if you see, when it comes to the European regulation, we need to ensure that 32 language as part of the European, because they have 32 countries something, right? So if you are going to place those 32 language on a label, you can see the impact of those if the product is of this size. So and if currently if they have just 2 languages to place on the medical device product, and if you are going to place now 32 languages on that product, obviously the label is going to expand, and obviously we need to ensure that packaging of that particular medical device needs to change to meet the compliance, right? So according to the design changes are going to impact. So that's why we need to connect the dots, and we need to understand how big this overall industry and the business is actually, right? So this is just an example I gave you. Next. So again, the challenges will be the same what already the moderator mentioned. So the challenge will be the expertise that is lacking still, I would say. Then the data security issues are very much in case of the smart devices, right? How much of you aware on the regulations on the LinkedIn platform or something, that if say Medtronic has launched, like they got the regulatory approval for particular product, like recently they launched their DBS therapy product for the Alzheimer or something, right? I think I'm not sure like how you people are aware of those. I think we should read on those approvals, what exactly they are doing, right? And how they got the approval, what the new changes they have made to their product, and how it's contributing to their overall growth and sales of that, right? I think we all have to look into this angle and how it is demanding, because the current therapeutic area which I see like is the neuroscience, then diabetes have the huge potential in the market, and ultimately the medical device industries are like heavily investing into these industries, particularly the implants as well. So if you see down the line, no surprise that you will have the artificial heart implanted into the patients. Okay, then the kidneys. Already the research is going on. Okay, so we should not take more time. Definitely the regulations will be there. Liver as well. Okay, so because to implant the liver, right, it takes a huge, it's very cost heavy, right? So having the medical device in picture definitely is going to be a edge for the future generations, right? So as I mentioned that since the patients are getting older, but due to these medical devices coming into the picture, you will see the lifespan of the people is definitely increasing. Now, a simple example that I can tell you, like maybe in every home now we have the angioplasty very common, right? For my father, I did that in the 2011. So that time I was just what is it? I was just learning the pharma curriculum. At that time I was just doing employed at Orchid, and I was very new to this field. Okay, but to be honest, I am very curious to know like how exactly it does to the body. Okay, how these stents are coated with our drug, what exactly they do, right? And I think I need to we have to look into that way, what exactly it is doing, because ultimately this is increasing the lifespan of the people. This is making difference to the life of the people, right? And so definitely we are saving life of the patient, right? So that's how it is. And so like if a patient is getting disease, so if it is getting a disease, then if a medical device is getting implanted, so along with that also we need to support with the medications, right? It's not like that if you just implant a stent in a body, but still we need the immunosuppression where required, or to maintain the so that the clotting around the stent should not happen. So we need to give the anti-clotting agent, right? So you have been curious to understand the prescription of your father if he has been gone through the angioplasty. So you should actually look into that, right? So which are the medicines prescribed, why they are prescribed, right? Because we are the best people to know the pharmacology of the drug, right? You are the best. You are the best to know the chemistry of any drug, right? And how it, if your father is suffering for, has some allergy or something, if you give a particular chemical class of the drug to your father, how it is going to impact the health of that person. Like say in the case of psoriasis, I will say the chloroquines are not suggested, right? Because ultimately they will trigger the psoriasis, right? This is what I know from the pharmacology background. So if someone asks me, I'm getting this aggravated, these symptoms are getting aggravated, I can tell them very confidently, due to this only. Why we should know? Because we should know. Because we have been studying the human anatomy, physiology, then we have the pharmacology, then chemistry. I think this is all, I think we need to connect. Unless and until we will not connect, then we will not able to visualize what exactly how exactly the market is demanding. Okay, and the same goes with the medical device as well. I am not sure like whether the medical device curriculum is included into the current scenario, because ideally it should be included. Okay, to be honest, maybe sir you can just comment on that. How about the medical device curriculum? Is it introduced into the syllabus? Ideally you should have it. So at least some text like how we had pharmaceutical engineering, right? So the preliminary knowledge of the medical devices and the documentation that goes, whether it is a design history file or labeling or something, whatever it is, right? So maybe the experts can tell, or maybe I can also give you the input, but I think you should communicate this to the people who are actually framing this syllabus, and it is a need of a time, sir. If we are not like keeping updated with the latest trends that are happening, then I think these people will not know. to be honest. Okay, so that's the challenge actually in the industry. Because if we would have this knowledge of medical devices, the things could have been better. I hope you are getting right. So I think you should communicate that to the like agency who are framing this syllabus. Yeah, next. Yeah, again the career opportunities. So we have the innovators into the medical devices like Medtronic, then Stryker. So Medtronic is the first company who have launched the pacemaker. Okay, so for your information. And Stryker into the mostly they are into the implants actually, right? You see the hip and the patella and all those stuff, right? So you will have artificial patella going forward, and it is already into the picture. Then Baxter, if you see the Baxter, even though sir mentioned that it is into just the parental formulations, but it's no more the case. Baxter is like expanding their horizons into the medical devices, like say by acquiring the Hillrom, which is a medical device company. If they have the products like plethysmometer, then our all of the products which are part of the like you say you do this stress testing, right, for your ECG and all those stuff. Yeah, so they have all these products into the market. Then Siemens engineers, basically they are into the IVD products when we do any testing and all those stuff, right? So they same with the billing, like they have vacuum cleaners and all those chemical test products and the reagents. Then Thermo Fisher also into the same. Then GE Healthcare, they have the MRI machine and a lot of machines which are used for the diagnosis. So, and into the consulting, like as I mentioned, like TCS, then SCL Tech, Accenture, Capgemini, Cogni, they all like deal with the projects of these all innovators actually, where also we have a role to play if we get a job there, right? So that's how it is. Next. So yeah, any questions? I think it was boring, it seems. Is it? Yeah, please.
So what is the challenges in clinical trials for medical devices?
Yes. So clinical trials for medical devices again is like maybe I may not be able to mention that much, but from pharmacology I can mention it for pharma. But for medical devices, the challenges are getting the patients of the particular disease, okay, and getting recruited, because again this is very costly affair, right? So these are the challenges of getting the particular people of the particular disease which should fit into the selection criteria, right? When they will recruit those, again those may not be properly, because those people will have a lot of variations, right? Considering those variations, they have to again screen their medical devices to get those results, and to draw the inferences from that medical data is again a challenge, to be honest. Okay, so it's not like a very straightforward process, I could say, because whatever the projects that I am dealing with the clinical now, when we get the complaints from the patients, like somewhere with the medical devices, they issue with some voltage issue, right? Where the cable is burned. How we can relate that to our safety and performance of that medical device? Are you getting? So these are the challenges in drawing that conclusion for a particular medical device. But again, I think things are improving. So in future we may see that happening. But currently these are still the challenges. Yes. Yes.
What are the key factors for developing or designing any new medical device?
Key factors again will be based on the how the businesses work, right? So where they will invest the money if they are getting any output, right? So obviously if any new company is going to invest in something, obviously they will be doing the market analysis, like if they are going to put in something this much amount of money into that medical devices, what the return that they will be getting. Understand, it is government funded, right? So if it is demanding, and based on the population, they say like if we manufacture these medical devices, it is going to get sold out, and we will get whatever the return on investment what we want. Definitely, so this is the main critical thing based on the overall requirement from the market, exactly what they want, like what is the requirement. So as sir mentioned, so on the cyber security, so if you are taking your blood glucose level, right? So from the smart devices, or what I mean, your data is protected into the one software. So if data is getting transferred into the other physician's desktop or something where he has access to that, right? So there is again a compliance issue, cyber security issue. But this data is definitely leveraged. There are some loopholes where these people figure out that, Indians have a very high sugar, we should go for the a smart glucose sensor. Okay? But also they collect the official data as well, which they have that no, Indian population has more of a diabetes nowadays. We should invest in such things that will meet the demand, right? Of like diagnosing the diabetes, then ultimately treating those. So accordingly they make the decision and then they invest into the R&D and they manufacture that medical device. So I think these are some of the factors which are again the same as we go for the pharma. That's it. Thank you. Thanks all.
Thank you so much, sir. Till date, we are only aware of documentation for submitting a drug dossier, but today we have opened our eyes and tell us the importance of submitting regulations for medical devices. So, also IT consulting opportunities in the pharma industry will greatly benefit our students in shaping their careers. Also, you highlighted the sustainable practice in shaping the future of medical devices and vast opportunities in the intersection of pharma and digitalization. Your contribution is truly making a positive impact. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Dr. I.D. Amrutkar, sir, to felicitate Bhamre, sir, as a token of appreciation. The next session, I request Mr. K K Wagh sir to come on stage. Solid understanding of regulatory medical devices, career opportunities and challenges. Let's now shift our focus on to the another critical aspect, pathway and classification for medical device registration. It is now our pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mr. K K Wagh sir, who will delve into the critical aspects of regulatory compliance in the medical device industry. Mr. K K Wagh, a seasoned expert in regulatory affairs and quality assurance with over 12 years experience in pharmaceutical industry. As a senior executive at G&L Scientific Solutions, he has played a pivotal role in global regulatory submissions, compliance and market access strategies across the US, Europe and ROW markets. With a rich career spanning key roles at Lupin Limited, Mylan Laboratories and FDC, Mr. Wagh has been instrumental in managing complex regulatory dossiers, quality assurance processes and international health authority approvals. His expertise in navigating global regulatory landscapes and ensuring seamless product registration makes him a distinguished leader in the field. Today, he will be sharing his insights on global regulatory pathway and classification for medical device registration, a crucial topic for professionals aiming to bring innovative medical solutions to the global markets. Please join me in giving warm welcome to Mr. K K Wagh sir. Now I request I.D. Amrutkar sir to felicitate Mr. K K Wagh. Okay, I request Mr. K K Wagh sir to deliver your session.
Hello. Good afternoon all. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity for make a part of this session. I am telling about the global regulatory pathway of medical device registration. Let me first this session as a assertive. Next one. Next slide, please. Anyone know about the medical device? Simple definition, not like models are said. Can you repeat it? Or you can read it, no problem. Anyone? No. A medical device includes the instrument, machine and software for diagnosis or treating the disease without chemical action in the body. Next slide, please. The classification of medical device. Basically, they are classified into the three types: class 1, class 2 and class 3. The class 1 is called as a low risk, class 2 is a moderate risk and third is a high risk. Example are bandage for low risk, moderate risk infusion pump and high risk is a pacemaker. I am going to talk about for Europe market and US FDA market how we file a dossier or technical document to this market. Anyone know the function of regulatory affairs personnel? Which any work, any information about regulatory affairs department? Anyone? Actually, what he do what his function actually in this regulatory affairs department? What is the role? Anyone? शांत बसलं तर काहीच नाही होणार. बोला काहीतरी. No. The regulatory affairs department, it includes the main three primary roles. First of all, preparation of dossier. What means dossier? We have prepared dossier in CTD format, which include all the information. Like in CTD format, there are 5 modules. Module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All are know about this. 1 means what included in module 1? Please loud. Correct. Module 2 is summary. Module 3 is quality. Module 4 is non-clinical. Module 5 is clinical. Let's make a, if we are having a drug, we talking about pharmaceutical. Let's see. If it's a drug like a paracetamol, and we want, and another company is making another paracetamol, then this kind of submission is called as a generic submission. And in medical device, if you have a glucometer of company ABC, it is already marketed in US, and manufacturer want to, he see that there is a lots of code, lots of revenue. Let's try to make a glucometer and sell it to the US. Then you know how to proceed for that. Like drug product, we can go through the ANDA submission. For medical device, is there any pathway? Anyone know? Okay. There is a pathway which is called as a pre-market application. It's called as a 510K submission in US market. What we have to do? We have to register our product and compare of this product up to. Let's imagine this is a water bottle. Let's imagine this is a glucometer and this is a glucometer, and we have to make a comparison of both devices. Comparison of both devices in aspect of his design is similar, his intended use is similar, his working principle is similar. Based on that, we can file a 510K submission in US market for class 2 device. What is mean by class 2 device? Anyone know? Like Maude sir said, or I have explained. Example, simple glucometer. These are the class 2 device. Okay. For class 1 device and class 2 device, you know, this clinical document, clinical data is required. Just assume. Because low risk, you require the clinical data or not? No. And if it is a MRI or a pacemaker, then you require. Okay. Next one. You can go ahead. 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 No. Okay. These are the pathway for US FDA 510K submission for moderate class 2. What is mean by predict required? Just like I have explained. If already another manufacturer available in the market having the same device, you can compare. Therefore, predict required. Clinical data required, it's sometimes or not necessary. What is the review time for the agency? It's a 90 days. Within 90 days, you get the approval. Before 90 days, there are lots of work also. There is a pre-meeting, all other things are there. But you can get the review time 90 days. Example, syringe, surgical mask. Okay. This device required for the device that demonstrates substantial equivalence to an already legally marketed device. Then click note that if the device is having same already available in the market and you can want to make a different medical device and you have to submit, then you have to go for 510K pathway for regulatory for approval of in the US market. Second one is de novo. What is a de novo? If you design a medical device that is not already in the market, then you don't have to compare with anyone. So in that case, you have to go with de novo pathway. Example is AI-based diagnostics tool. Okay. Last. Next slide. Same slide. US market. I think last part is missing. Third pathway is PMA. It is required for class 3 device. Class 3 device means high. Okay. In this case, clinical data required or not? What you think? Yes. For this case, clinical data required. Example of this device is a pacemaker. These 3 pathways are for US market only. And what about the device 1? How to register? For this pathway is required or not? If any device having class 2, how you classify that this device is a class 2, class 1, class 3? All this information are available in the site. Please go through that on medical device site, where you can really confirm that my device is a class 1, class 2 or class 3. All 3 are classified by the use, their intended use. उसका यूज क्या है, उसी से उसका क्लासिफिकेशन होगा. अगर लो रिस्क है तो प्लीज देन इट इज अ क्लास 1. मॉडरेट रिस्क है एंड मेजर रिस्क है. There is a pathway of 510K when it will be used for class 2 or some class 3, but already another medical device already placed in the market, and we have shown this device and our device is compatible and comparable for the intended use. Then only we can use 510K. But do you know? Okay. These are the medical device regulation. We have to understand the key aspect of device regulation. First, what we will do? We are device the class. We are going into the device classification. Devices are classified into the class 1, class 2 or class 3, by which increasing the level of risk. Then pre-market submission. The pre-market submission involves these 3 pathways. Then quality system regulation. We have to follow that quality system regulation. For this, who can follow this? The manufacturing unit is following this quality system regulation. It maintains the quality standard into the manufacturing unit. Then post-market surveillance. What is meaning by post-market surveillance? Anyone? कब करते हैं? या गुड. क्यों करना चाहिए? Quality, safety and efficacy for this matter. Okay. These are the regulatory frameworks for the medical device. First one is for Europe. They follow EU MDR 2017-745, like sir said. This regulation governs the medical device in Europe and ensure the safety and performance standards. Second, FDA. FDA 21 CFR Part 820 stand for quality system, which is applicable for the manufacturer only. You know the QMS, quality management system? Anyone please? If you speak, I can give more. If you don't speak, then I have, because I don't know how you know about this thing or how much you know. Quality management system, anyone know? By the name you can analyze. Okay, I will explain. Then in China, NMPA, in Japan, PMDA. In Japan, medical devices are registered like CTD format only, like module 1, 2, 3, 4. In Europe, sir said that it's a technical document. And in US, I have shown that these three pathways. Let's see the regulatory pathway globally. It's not a market oriented, any country oriented, just a global pathway. Which of the country, they have to follow this. It is not necessary, any additional data is also there. First is, क्या करना पड़ेगा? Classify your device. हमको मालूम होना चाहिए हमारा डिवाइस क्लास 1 है, क्लास 2 है, क्लास 3 है. सेकंड, डिजाइन एंड डेवलप. डिजाइन एंड डेवलप में क्या आएगा? ISO 13485, please read this. By using this ISO standard, you can design, develop and also maintain a quality management system. This is required for quality management system. Third is risk management. Risk management कैसा होगा? By utilizing ISO 14971. What is risk management? Is there any risk from our product? How to overcome? How to go ahead? How to mitigate this risk? All this kind of information are in risk management program. Third is preclinical testing. Conduct a lab study to validate the safety and performance of device before clinical trial. Next one is clinical evaluation. Execute clinical trial to demonstrate the efficacy of your device if necessary based on classification only. Okay? Then next is technical documentation. In this technical documentation you have to, if you want to file your medical device or like drug product, please tell me which type of document you have to submit. Let's assume if you have to file this medical device and you have to prepare the technical document, which kind of different kind of document you have to include this in the technical document?